Hey, I thought I'd do a really quick video on how to do a Fastplant. Fastplant is a boneless variant, I suppose. Usually it's done on like the coping of a half pipe. I'm gonna do it on this thing. This is the Pantheon Quest, but I chopped the nose off because basically it's a two-part move, maybe three parts, depending on how you look at it. First thing you have to do is be able to pop the board up and step behind it. So the board pops in front of you. I'm goofy, so while you're rolling, you step back about halfway, crouch a bit, do a little bit of a jump, and as the board's unweighed, you step off. Depending on the tail, it'll pop up on its own. The longer the tail, or the more kicktail-like your board's rear end is, the more of a kicktail you have, the more you need to actually pop it, push it, and then lift your foot before it pops and hits the ground. So that takes a bit of practice. So my recommendation is to just practice rolling, popping, and grabbing it. Roll, pop, and that was a really bad one. Roll, crouch, pop, and grab. Now you want to grab here in the front corner. If you're goofy, it'll be a front right. If you're regular, it'll be front left. You want to grab it with this thumbs up grip, and that's important because that lets you push your thumb to flatten the board out, and you can use your fingers to actually support the weight of the board. It's cold, so I want to wear my toque. I'll put a helmet on, I guess, even though it's cold. So again, you're going to pop the board up, catch it thumbs up like that, so you can crank the board. This is the worst thing I could go over. So the next thing you want to be able to do is get your foot up on the object that you're going to pop onto. So, for example, you're going to want to get your foot on the object. You got to kind of jump off the board, pop it, grab it thumbs up, and you're a step on the block, then you jump off. Now when you jump off, make sure that you lead with your shoulder. You're going to suck your knees up close to your body, place the board under your feet, and then once you get close to the ground, you're going to push the board down as you let go. If you find you're twisting one way or the other, that's usually because you're opening up your shoulders too much, or maybe you're closing. Don't go too fast, or this will happen. It's also important to note, if you're going to go up something high, you're going to want to hit your deck off the object. If it's angular or if it's a curb, then you hit your wheels. The more angular the object is, the more faster you can go. The higher up it is, the slower you need to go. You're pretty limited to pretty slow speed. Normally you need to do a little slide first or coast off your speed. You can legitimately use this to get around once you get good at it. When we step away, we need to step to the side and open up a little bit, put our chest towards where we're going. So when we go on the block, we'll be facing. And that's usually a no-no for these kinds of moves because it means that you're going to kind of spin this way, front side, because you need to open up so that way the board doesn't hit you on the way out. What we'll do is when we jump, we'll kind of jump and lead in with our shoulder. We just don't want to throw our shoulder in too aggressively because then we'll rotate this way, backside. We don't want that. You want to place the board under your feet and you want to suck your knees up nice and high, and then at the last second you kind of let go and push the board out from underneath you. Kind of goes like this. Okay, practice it on grass first, then you can take it to asphalt. Unfortunately, this is the spot that's close to home and there's no asphalt on the other side of these. We can maybe find a curb somewhere where I can demonstrate it rolling. Okay, so we're gonna roll up, foot on the block, on the board. Crouch, pop. That one was weak. And then for fun, you can jump extra high. I have an action camera, but I left it at home, so I'm going to hold my phone as I demonstrate a first-person view perspective. Freaking trees. Who put these here? One final thing, and that is how to land. I mean, you just got to go for it, and it's actually not that bad. Like, you can just do it. But if you're a little bit nervous, like I said, practice on grass, practice jumping, sucking your knees in and grabbing the board and pushing it down. When we land, we want to land front foot somewhere up front and centered, so that way we're not landing in a crazy fast pump or turn. We want our back foot near the back. Don't land on just your back foot, because then you'll probably fall off the back of the board. So you want to make sure that you're a little bit more forward than your back foot. You want to land on both feet as much as possible. Nice square stance. When it's time to take it to asphalt, if you need a little bit of help, this is what I might try. Okay, I'm just making this up as I go. First thing we're going to do is take the board, swing it, and then you're going to catch the front of the board. You're going to let go of it. And then you take your front foot and catch the front of the board like you would if you knew how to ollie. And then we stomp it down when the back foot gets over top. It looks like this. It's really easy. Just touch it with the outside of your shoe here, and it pretty much does the rest for you. Then you need to do that moving, okay? So the next part is to move and do that. Next one, we grab thumbs up like this. We kind of go up and then jump on it. And in order to do this, it's easy to have a little bit of a forward motion and to lead with your shoulder, just like we do off the block. So that's kind of like this. Okay, and that's gonna be the most like landing it. This is exactly what it feels like doing the move. You can even do this. It's actually easier on a drop deck, because if you mess up, you can just put your toe or your heel down. Now, if the board lands first, it's okay. Ideally, we don't want that, but we can definitely start that way and then progress to where we suck it up and push it down. Cool. Another thing that I just noticed is if I kind of thrust, I'm leading with my shoulder, I can kind of thrust this knee towards this part of the board. That seems to feel pretty good. I don't know, you can give that a try. I never really have to think about it, I just sort of do it. That's it. As for distance, I don't know. Let's put this into slow motion. We'll see how close I get to that curb. So I feel like I'm pretty close. Let's take this off the tripod. So I'd say my wheels are about, I don't know, 3 or 4 fingers away from the curb as I begin to lift. And then I get so that my back foot lands, you know, maybe at most just under 2 feet. Board hits, I step and jump. That's why normal Fastplant doesn't work, because it's a really big jump to get on top of something. But you can do it if you want. Editing Paul here. I just wanted to quickly point out that technically this is like a Fastplant 2 boneless. Like fast plants are kind of like a boneless where you keep your front foot on or over the board, cover the board while your back foot does the pop and the step. That's a fast plant. I spoke to an old school skater that knew his stuff. His name's Conan Gay. We decided that fast plant was probably the most accurate name for this trick. And then I wrote an article in Concrete Wave magazine, and all the guys that work there are old school skaters, and nobody really corrected me. So as far as I'm concerned, fast plant with a longboard this is canon now. Now you don't need a tail. You can actually do it off of a stubby tail. Either you offset your wheels in, or you have a low enough angle of base plate. You can actually just pop off of this. But be aware that when you do that, the board is going to come up less and it's going to go out. And it's going to end up closer to where the front axle is. Often I'll ride a chopped tail. I run a 38-degree base plate in the rear, and I have inward set axles or inward rake. And that inward rake lets me manual on just the base plate. That's why I've got grip tape on my base plate. And I can use this as my rear kicktail. It just changes how I do this stuff. Now, if I'm gonna actually do a fast plant up a big block, the longer the tail, the better to a degree. Another thing that makes double drops a really good option for getting around town or for like distance skating with an element of urban assault. The ability to do the first part of that move, or just pop it up and grab it, because you can use that instead of wearing out your shoes to stop. You can just run off your speed. All you have to do is ride up, pop the board up, and jog. From there, you can like go up small obstacles like steps, run around baby strollers or dogs. You can also use it to turn around quickly, like in the middle of an out and back race. Take your board, throw it back down under your feet. You don't have to slow down or stop when you're encountered by like a set of stairs or people or a dense crowd. You can just pop your board, jog, get around, throw back down. I find it really useful when I'm in like Manhattan and everyone else skates through the intersection. I find that I can pop up the board at the intersection and jog and pick and choose my pathway through the cars, then throw down once it kind of opens up again on the other side of the intersection. If you're really nervous about throwing down, you can always kind of just like roll your back wheels and then kind of step onto the front as you let go. Super easy. The fast plant works best on curbs if you're showing off, but I mean, it's mainly just kind of cool. The pop and grab and then throw down is super useful. I use it all the time. I almost don't foot brake anymore. Shoes are expensive. I just pop the board, grab it, jog off the speed, or I use that move to get around cars, babies, clueless pedestrians, other skaters, dogs, whatever. I mean, if you're like a super ninja, you can kind of ollie this board, but I can kind of rocket it and just get the rear wheels over an expansion gap. And then I can flatten it out a bit, but it's not a real ollie. You'd have to be pretty good because the drop and the tails are still so stubby. If you're super good and you have like a really good kicktail, you might be able to just jump, pop, grab on the way to the block, placing your front foot only on the block, off, throw down in the air, kind of acid drop, and roll away. And then I think we're done.